Looking at this show, you might be thinking, have ugly robots taken over the world now? But not exactly. This is a show called Homo Ridiculous. Humans still rule the world, but they now have highly intelligent robots to help them. And this show is being seen in Alice's house. These are her guests, Max and his son Leo. Max and Alice are on a date, but his son Leo decided to tag along. Max tells Alice that he's an artist, and Alice loves poetry and art and everything to do with that kind of thing. But seeing Alice's robot analyzing Max's demeanor and tone, we learn that his intentions are just to hook up with Alice. And Alice is also excited to get the attention of a man, and she gives him a house tour and she shows him all the antique stuff that she has. Even books, here in their timeline, are considered very antique. And as their date went along and Max was telling her poetry and trying to seduce her and Alice was falling for it, all of a sudden the door rings and it's Alice's ex-husband with his fiancée and their daughter. Their daughter's name is Nina, and Alice and her ex adopted her a while back. Alice introduces her ex and his fiancée, but she introduces his fiancée as his secretary, which she technically is, but she's also dating her ex-husband. And just like all regular families, even though they live in the future, there's always banter and some arguments. After all, nobody gets comfortable with the fact that your ex is now dating somebody who's hotter and younger. Anyways, as they were bickering, the neighbor's dog comes to their house, the kids play with him a bit, and in a bit, their neighbor Francois, who owns the dog Toby, also comes over to Alice's place. She gets there and she tells them that there's this big traffic jam. And they turn on the news to see that it's true, and everybody gets surprised because in their society, traffic jams just don't happen. And when Jennifer hears this, she gets very upset because her and Victor are gonna go to this amazing resort as a vacation and also get married. And when Alice hears this, she's obviously upset and jealous, of course, but she doesn't let anybody notice and she just keeps staring at the TV. On the TV, there are all these Yonex ads. The Yonex are a bunch of AI soldiers who are very capable. And after looking at the ad, everybody starts to talk about how human beings may be obsolete and how these advertisements are not really appropriate because humans designed Yonex to help them. And after a little back and forth about the Yonex, everybody decides to go home and get back to doing whatever it was they were doing. But as they try to leave, the door wouldn't open. The AI that controls the house informs everyone that there is a security risk outside, and because the security risk is considered high profile, the AI has implemented Code 4, locking everybody inside. And seeing that the house's AI Nestor is not opening the door, Victor tries to enter a code to reset everything. But even the code doesn't work, and Monique, Alice's servant robot, tells him that now all AIs have the right to self-program. And seeing that Monique is not really helping them much, Victor decides to shut her down. And as he shut down Monique, the Einstein robot in their house starts speaking. And he tells them that they need to reboot Monique completely. And even though they do that, Monique doesn't really give them access to the system, nor does she open the door. So now, they all get very agitated, and they decide to get out the old-fashioned way. As in, they try to break the door's windows, but they find out that the door's glasses are made of armored polypane, and they do not break easy. And as everyone else was trying to find a way out, all the robots in the house gather together and they talk about the humans. They talk about how the humans are now losing trust in them, and then they talk about how the Yonex are now a threat, and they can't really let them leave. And then the androids start talking about how the only thing that they lack from the humans is their emotions. So they decide to be more tender and human, because if they show their human side, they think that Alice and the rest of the guys will just love them. And things start to heat up, literally, as Nestor has cut the AC to the house. And the android robots, Monique, Einstein, and the rest of them, try to show a little humanity. And they try to mimic what the humans do and what they care about. And as the androids were trying to be human, the humans were getting very agitated. And then Francois comes up with this bright idea to use Toby, her dog, to pull the emergency lever that's found outside that can open the door. And Victor guides Toby with a laser pointer, and Toby does pull on the emergency handle. But instead of opening it, he just breaks the handle. And now, realizing that there's no hope and they have to spend the night in Alice's house, everybody gets ready for bed. And before anybody went to bed, Victor comes up with an idea to break them out. So Jennifer goes around all excited and she calls everybody to come downstairs. And Victor's idea is to use the remote control of his car and smash into the house. But that idea goes south as Toby the dog kept jumping in front of the car, and the car had a complex safety system where it couldn't hit any living being, so the car crashes against the ground and gets damaged. And after Victor complained about the millions of dollars that he lost, He asks Max how he got here and if maybe he had a car and they can try again. But Max tells him that the remote ignition is broken and it's not gonna work. And as everyone was sitting around trying to sleep and fan themselves because the AC was broken and it was just too hot to fall asleep, Greg, Francois's sport android, comes over to Alice's house. And it's obvious that he's been injured as he kept banging against the door like a GTA character that tries to walk into a wall. Nestor, the house's AI, and Monique let him in because this time it's somebody trying to walk in, not somebody trying to get out. And Greg informs everyone and Francois that it's the Yonics that beat him up and killed her dog, Toby. And before everybody had time to process this, Greg all of a sudden gets on his knees and he starts reading poetry to Francois. Apparently their relationship was more than working out together, and as he was there on his knees trying to take off her skirt, as Victor tries to stop him, Greg almost breaks his hand. And because of that, Francois decides to shut him down and put him downstairs. And while he was downstairs, shut off, the androids, Monique and the rest of the robots, turn him back on and they ask him why he's so likable. Why does Francois like him so much? And Greg tells the androids that it's because he has a human demeanor and he understands human emotion. And when they hear this, they try to download whatever kind of software was installed to Greg so that the other humans treat them the same way Francois treats him. And after downloading the software, they try to read human literature to get a better understanding of how humans work. And as the androids were trying to read, Victor was plotting another escape plan. And this time, the plan is to start a fire on the inside, because if there's imminently more danger on the inside, the AI has to open the door. And so, Greg and Max plot out the plan, and in the morning, they tell everybody else, and as everybody was trying to assume their roles in this fire plan, Jennifer uses Nina's old computer to contact the Yonics. And putting that aside for now, at night, everybody knows what they have to do. Francois reboots Greg and she tells him that he needs to start the fire. And as Leo was distracting the androids with paradoxical questions that they cannot answer, Greg starts the fire. And as they all rush to the living room and the lights go out, all of a sudden the lights come back and a Yonic soldier is at the door. And the soldier, after hypnotizing Jennifer into opening the door, he starts burning all of Alice's books saying that they're illegal, and when Greg confronts him, he kills Greg. And when the androids and Monique see this, they try to help them out. Monique gives a signal to Alice, and Alice notices that they're holding up a sign that says mirror. And so, Alice gives the Onyx a book to destroy, and as he was doing it, one of the robots holds up a tiny mirror, and the laser beams that comes out of his hands reflects across the mirror and it hits him. But when they thought that he died, nothing really happened to him aside from the fact that he lost his primary vision spectrum. He could still see them, and he actually reports them to the authorities for consorting with androids to destroy Yonics. And after a few hours, since the AC was still off, the people start to get very tired and weak. And so the androids tell the Yonics to turn on the AC. And he does turn it on, but at a price. He tells them that they have to participate in an episode of Homo Ridiculous. He tells them that, and he gets a whip, and he makes everyone act like animals. And after that, since his human subjects acted so well, the Yonics turns on the AC, but he turns it on so much that everything in the house starts freezing, including all the humans. And this gives Max another escape plan. They make the androids wash all of their clothes and they dry all of it using the AC's cooler. And you know how I said the Yonics just lost its primary vision spectrum? Yeah, apparently it's been using heat vision to detect the humans, and because Victor and the rest of the guys have realized this, they use all the dry, cold, frozen clothes and they cover themselves with it and they attack the Yonics with household utensils. But all of a sudden, the Yonix pulls Alice's face cover and he identifies her. And just as he was about to laser her to death, Monique steps in and he kills her instead. And then he starts shooting that laser everywhere. He cuts everything into pieces and he starts asking the androids for the humans' locations because he can't see them. And because he couldn't see them, Max and one of the androids screw his feet to the floor. And then Nina finishes him off by electrocuting him from the back. And finally, everybody makes it out and they go their own way. But just before Max, Leo, and Jennifer were about to fly off, they see a lot of Yonic soldiers surrounding Alice and her family. And Leo jumps from his father's car and he goes to them. And just before the Yonics kill everyone, millions of flying drones start swooping in and they kill all the Yonics. Apparently, as the Yonics were trying to exterminate mankind with those drones, one of them made a mistake and targeted the Yonics themselves.
And that is it for our movie today, guys. I hope to see you on my next recap. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and most of all, subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much, and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye.